So, new episode. What we're gonna do is a meth kit installation. So, let me see if I sound like a weirdo talking out here. Where are my neighbors? I hear them. Alright guys, so this video is actually going to cover the methanol injection kit. Now, this is going to cover a standard general kit. I've installed several from different manufacturers. I've installed the Snow Performance kit on my SRT4 back in the day. I did the A&M kit here, and I've helped a couple of people with some other kits online. So, they're all basically the same. They all have extremely similar components. Some even use the exact same pumps. They just have different branding on them. Now, the most important single part of the kit is going to be the controller. Basically, those different controllers, they have different strengths and different weaknesses. Now, there's two main types of kit you can get. There's going to be the naturally aspirated version of the kit, and there's going to be the boosted version of the kit. So the naturally aspirated version of the kit, that's going to run off throttle input. So basically, once you hit 80%, it's going to start spraying. Usually, it just sprays. It's 100%, it's all spray all the time. Once you get below that wide open throttle condition, it's going to back off because obviously if you're just going half throttle, you're just maybe just getting around somebody or whatever. The turbo kit version basically is going, or turbo supercharger is going to be for obviously boosted vehicles where you have pressure in the intake manifold. So when that pressure hits, it's basically going to trigger a linear progression on your kit. So your injection is going to start at 0% injection. Let's say you have it set for, like mine, it's 3.5 psi of boost. It starts injecting. That's going to be that 10% threshold where the pump is just kicking on. Once it gets to here, it's going to be 100%, meaning the pump's going to push out everything it can. The only thing that's going to meter that flow is going to be the different size nozzles that you have in your kit. Everywhere in between, it's going to be a percentage. Alright, so some of the components that we have here. Obviously, we have our tank. That's pretty standard. Down here, behind the spare tire, I have the methanol injection pump. Now, this is the one from AEM. Most of them are 200 psi, and most of them flow about the same as well. So you're not going to get too much variability there. So as you see, it's mounted. It's on a grommet. Both are like that. So that way it doesn't vibrate the hell out of it. You can see there's ample clearance between the tire here, and then my line snakes around the tire. It's all the way back through, around, and I have it going on the inside of the car, mainly because I didn't want rocks to come up and chip it. Wiring for that is going to be super straightforward, just as the instructions say, so it's really easy. You don't have to worry about that. I did remove my spare tire when I was doing it, but I want to keep it just in case I actually break down. That would suck. And this fits the stock floor mat super easily. It still holds weight there, so I'm not losing anything. And eventually I welded on to expand that, added a 4th bolt in the back corner to help hold that battery in place, and of course you can see the battery tie down. Alright, so that's the tank installed in the back. Obviously, if you still have your washer fluid reservoir, you can always tap into this, fill it up with meth, windshield wiper fluid combination, 50-50 water, whatever you want. Again, so many options. I can always make a video on that if you actually guys, if anyone's requesting it. The next thing your kit's going to have, it's obviously going to have enough hosing, piping, tubing. You know, it's 1/4-inch tubing. It's that hard line. Usually has quick connect fittings. Some have, again, upgrades for stainless steel braided lines. I'm a little cheap. A lot. So I don't have that. But the hosing, again, the tubing does work fine, so there's not really too much of an issue with it. Unless you're running like really close to something or there's potential rubbing or something like that. So again, take your car into consideration and see how your routing is going to be. It's going to be different for every kit. It's going to be different for every car. It's going to be different for pretty much every installer. There's different ways to actually mount that nozzle. So here's one of the cheapest ways without really doing anything to modify your car from stock. And that's going to be this spacer plate. That's a cheap way. They do make these plates for a spacer plate here between the intake manifold on this car. Most have them here at the throttle body. Again, you can weld here, make sure it's sealed, and you can tap in, and that can be an ejection point. And you do that same thing on the intake manifold. If you inject here, you risk messing up your throttle body if you have an electric throttle body. If you don't have an electric throttle body or any sensors or anything, then you don't have an issue. You can do that. So again, every kit is going to come with some nozzles. Let me see if I find some spare nozzles that I have. So you'll have this, which is a bulkhead fitting. These usually, they go on the bottoms of tanks. And then you have your feed line here, and then that connects to the pump. You'll have other quick connect fittings that go from the pump out. And here we go. And then you'll have nozzles. Oops. So most kits will have nozzles. They'll be like this. They'll have a filter on one side, and they'll have a tiny orifice on the other side. Now that orifice is what's called a metered orifice, but they're stamped with little numbers here. Basically, they reference their size. Talk to your kit manufacturer if you have any questions on that. All right, so we're in the car now. Once again, this is what I feel is obviously the most important part. It's going to be the brain and the control. Now, this is where every kit is going to vary significantly in terms of quality and in terms of function. So every kit's going to be a little bit different, so you have to tweak it. Now, I installed mine in the glove box. Not really much of a temporary installation, but that's how I did it. Do your research and figure out what kit and what price range you want. Now, the reason that this thing is wrapped in zip ties is not because it's attached to anything. This controller itself had a boost leak. So it wouldn't start spraying when it was supposed to spray. It was supposed to spray at 3 psi, and at 3.5, 4 psi it starts spraying, and it's supposed to reach 100% at 10. I had to actually squeeze my controller to stop that from leaking. And I found that back when I made the boost leak test video. So once again, super similar like wiring a stereo or anything else. You've got basically all your wires. You'll find that some of them actually don't do anything. So I have these disconnected. These are for optional upgrades. They're wrapped up in here, but they are taped off, so they're not going to ground on anything, like this McDonald's receipt. Ooh. You'll have some sort of check valve usually to keep that from gravity feeding or gravity siphoning, especially if you have a car that pulls a lot of vacuum, or you mount your kit after the throttle body going into the manifold. So you'll have constant vacuum on that, and you'll end up with a siphoning. Basically, it's going to be like sucking a straw from a soda, right? It's going to be sucking that through your system and pulling it out, because that pump doesn't have a stop. So you can still, like a straw, you can still suction all that out, even without the pump turning on. So that's the importance of a check valve. Again, you can do a solenoid if you find that check valves are not reliable, or you're not going to want to go with a check valve, anything like that. Once again, look to your kit. They're going to have all these instructions for you specific to that kit. Where you mount the pump is going to matter. Where you mount the tank is going to matter. So definitely look into that. The solenoid is super simple to wire up. It's different on every kit though, so make sure you pay attention. On some kits, the solenoid needs power, and then from that power, it grounds out in the controller. Other kits actually power the solenoid themselves, and from there, they ground out on something else. So double check whatever schematic it is for your specific injection kit. Every kit's gonna have your wiring diagram. Every kit's gonna have wiring. Some kits might even have little lights. So I have a level sensor on my kit, so it'll tell me blink, blink, blink. Basically, when that LED starts strobing, I know that my methanol tank needs to be filled. So that's how I have it set up. Some people don't hook it up, some kits don't have it. So look for those things when you're figuring out what you want to get. To the same extent, I also have a green LED that tells me when I'm injecting, and it gets a varying level of brightness depending on how I'm injecting. And again, make sure you get something it's not necessarily application specific, but if you have a boosted application, get one for a boosted. That's going to be linearly progressive. That's the one you want. You don't want to get the one that's for a naturally aspirated car where it just fires and sprays 100%. You have boost. Your boost is going to fluctuate. You don't want to end up injecting 100% at 8 psi, and then at 16 psi, you're like, shit, I need more. And then you change your nozzle, and then you have way too much down low, and you've got no way to adjust that linear curve we were talking about earlier. Most kits usually start in the 350, 400 range, and then they go up from there. Yes, you can get a $1,000 kit. Yes, you can get a DIY $200 kit. They're going to be varying degrees of reliability depending on what parts you use. Alright guys, so here's some cool updates for the channel. So, I am launching my website officially in the next day. So, that's going to be awesome. Look out for it. It is initialdiymods.com. So simple, right? So check that out. I'll also have a link in the description. Basically, I'm hoping to open up a store soon and sell some parts, whether they're going to be spare parts or custom-made parts for different cars. Basically, only cars that I have, because that's what I use to mock up. And I'm going to be having t-shirts and that kind of stuff as well. So if you guys want to support the channel that way, That'll be awesome. Let me know what you guys think of the video in the comments below. Please let me, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you feel. Once again, if you do leave me a thumbs down, that's cool. Just let me know why you leave me a thumbs down. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Check us out at initialdiymods.com. Make sure that you give a thumbs up for the videos that you like. Go check out some of the other videos if you are new to the channel. And check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm losing count of all these sites. I don't. It's so much. All right, guys. Till next time. Later. I don't know what to do. It's fucking... I need a baby dancing Groot. I think that would be the best choice. I don't have a baby. I don't have a Groot. Damn it. But subscribe.